Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us for another episode of FPL Fix. Game week 31 is in the books, and despite Newcastle scoring 3, Isak blanked. In fact, all 5 of the most captain players this week failed to return, so we had to rely on the rest of our squads to carry us through. I'm James, and here to break it all down with me is Patrick.
Hi everyone, the average score this week was just 34 points, so let us know in the comments, did you manage to beat it? And if you're enjoying the content, please drop us a like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow.
Okay, let's kick things off by looking at how our teams performed in game week 31. I'll start so I can show off my big green arrow. After a few tough weeks, my season's finally starting to turn round, and my team's looking set up nicely to finish the season strong. Pope delivered in goal, and with Newcastle keeping a clean sheet, my defensive double up with Burn paid off big time. They combined for 12 points on Monday night, which was a massive boost. In fact, they were 2 of only 4 players in my team to return at all. Munoz made it 3 out of 4 defenders to avoid a blank. Palace may have lost their clean sheet, but he scored, and he was unlucky not to grab some bonus points too. With a double-double coming up, I'm really happy to already have him in place. Unfortunately, Aït-Nouri, Kerkez, Palmer, Salah, Isak and Marmoush all blanked, and the only one with a real excuse was Palmer, who started on the bench and missed most of the game. Bowen was the only attacker to return. He grabbed 7 points with a goal against Bournemouth and definitely helped salvage the week for me. Despite all the blanks, I still beat the average by 15 points and landed a solid green arrow. With 6 doublers already in place for the upcoming game week, I'm feeling confident I can keep this momentum going. How did your team do, Patrick?
Yeah, not gonna lie, this week was rough for me. I finished on 30 points, so just below the average, and honestly it could have been even worse, if not for Flecken. He put in 10 points and completely saved my game week. The rest of my defence was a disaster. Kerkez and Wan-Bissaka both got a single point, and Van Hecke somehow managed to get me -2, which was brutal. Bowen was the only real bright spark. He scored, and he's been one of the few consistent performers in my squad lately. Salah just got 2 points, Isak blanked as captain, and the rest of my team, Marmoush, Beto, Rashford and Sarr, were all just 2 pointers or worse. I've got a few players lined up for the doubles, so I'm hoping to bounce back in game week 32, but yeah, this one stings a bit. Just gotta shake it off and move on. Alright, enough about my disaster class of a team. Let's look at some actual success stories from game week 31. While most of us were scraping points together, a few FPL managers came out of nowhere to hold big. If you owned any of these guys, you probably had a much better weekend than I did.
Okay, so starting with goalkeepers, and you had the top 2 keepers this week in your squad.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Onana. I've owned him all season. He's in the top 3 keepers list for the 2nd week in a row, and it's great to see him getting the points he deserves. I did start Flecken instead because of the fixtures, and he did really well with 10 points of his own. Ederson, Pope and Sanchez all picked up 6 points for their clean sheets. On to the defenders now. It's all about Newcastle. Livramento's top with 11 points, Shaw just behind with 10. Anyone backing Newcastle defenders this week got rewarded big time.
Yeah, I've got Pope and Burn, so I was loving that clean sheet. Gvardiol and James both got 9 points too. It's nice to see Reece James back on the score sheet rather than on the injury list.
In midfield is where the real damage was done. Brennan Johnson came out of nowhere with a huge 18 points haul.
Yeah, and less than 3% of FPL managers actually had him. Classic Spurs asset, quiet all season then randomly explodes when no one's got him.
Jacob Murphy wasn't far behind with 16 points, and we did tip him in our last video. Newcastle really were the stars of this game week, just not the ones we own.
Exactly, we're both sat here with Isak, and you even captained him, but it's Murphy and Livramento doing the business. Typical FPL.
Speaking of typical FPL, I have to give a shout out to Iwobi with 13 points. He was really frustrating when I owned him earlier this season, but he did really well against Wolves and is another differential worth keeping an eye on.
Now on to forwards, and there was quite a few returns this week, but not necessarily from the players we expected. Of the top 5 forwards, there's only Mateta who's got over 6% ownership.
Yeah, but the one that really stood out was Evanilson. He's done extremely well recently, even with the drop off in form for Bournemouth. He scored 4 goals in his last 3 games, so definitely worth a look if you're bringing in a striker.
Alright, and that's everything for our Game Week 31 recap. Let us know how your team did in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and we've got another video lined up ahead of Game Week 32 deadline.
Yeah, we'll be back later this week with transfer tips, captaincy picks and our team reveals, so make sure you've got notifications on so you don't miss it.
Thanks for watching and see you next time.